Hi, this is Donna Mills. You are listening to TV Confidential.
Red Roberts, and welcome you back to TV Confidential Radio, talk show about television that will shift gears, or shall we say, redirect our energy as we welcome nationally renowned voice artist Jarrad Hewett. Jarrad Hewett, longtime voice of the Disney Channel, and a voice you have heard on more than 2,000 commercials, including national ad campaigns for CocaCola and White Castle hamburgers. Jarrad Hewett is also the epitome of what it means to be a survivor. He was diagnosed with agoraphobia, PTSD, and depression, all before the age of 21. He was also morbidly obese as a child and faced massive debt and grappled with alcoholism and addiction while growing up LGBTQ in the conservative Midwest. Jarrad was also told that he would never make it in show business. Then one day, he found that he had the power within himself to change all that, and he did. Jarrad lost 150 pounds, overcame his debt to create a seven-figure company, and became a USA Today best-selling author in addition to his voiceover career. Jarrad not only shares his story, he shows you how you can overcome any obstacle you face by tuning in to your own personal energy frequency. We'll tell you what he means by that in just a second. But first, Jarrad Hewett, welcome to TV Confidential.
Thank you very much, Ed. It's great to be here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today and listening. And we're in for hopefully what's going to be a fun, wild ride.
I believe that all of us every day have a chance to reinvent ourselves if we want to, and that is really at the heart of your story, isn't it?
It really is. I love that you said that. If we want to, if we choose to, and sometimes that choice can be perceptively very difficult. But one of the things that I learned, I went through an experience where it was one of the later years of college. It took me a while. I had a couple of lap years, as they call them. But I remember laying in bed and having a Holter monitor strapped to me and being on lots of different medications. And I remember just laying there and saying, okay, God, if this is it, just take me. I'm done. This is it. And nothing happened. And everything stayed the same. And I thought, okay, you know what? Why? It was just this realization of, why do I think the way I think? Why do I feel the way I feel? And it was kind of this idea of, if I'd have been born 10,000 miles, 20,000 miles, even 3,000 miles away, to a different set of circumstances, different sociology, different religious background, different family, there would be certain things about me that would be the same, but there would be certain things about me that would be totally different. And it just got me to open up enough to start looking at why I believe the way I believe, why I think the way I think, which fundamentally brought me back to that just everything is energy. Going back to looking at, even with the Holter monitor and having the, EKGs as many times as I had them, and all of the things, they strap these things to your bodies, and what are they getting? They're getting readouts of your energy. And they can do it, we do it with stress tests. We do it with when they put the little nodes on your head, and, they'll sometimes subject you to, at one point I had gone through some things with an MS diagnosis, and they were doing the checkerboard tests and things like that. But they will look, and you'll be subjected to different things, wanting different outputs from your body, and all of these things are energy. And so I looked at that and I took it just a little bit further than that, and I just said, okay, well, everything I believe, all of that is also creating energy. It's creating feelings in my body. It's creating beliefs that are extending out and creating feelings that I have around what it is to be me, and what it is to be in the world, and what it is to create my life. And what if I, it's not as easy sometimes as saying, what if I just stopped believing all of those things? But I gave myself a little bit of room, and I said, what if I chose something different, even if it's just in the moment of now, just for a brief second? And that gave me just enough freedom to start down that path, Ed, of saying, okay, right now, what if I wanted to reinvent myself? And I don't think I had the wherewithal at the moment to realize I was saying, what if I wanted to reinvent myself? But even in that moment, I just wanted to not be in pain. I just wanted to live a little bit. I wanted a little bit of freedom. But in giving myself that choice of saying, what if right now I wanted to choose something different? I think for the first 25 years of my life, I didn't even realize I had that choice. And so it was a huge eye-opening experience to even realize how much choice I had. And as I kind of journeyed forward, and as I talked to people all over the world, I think there's still a very large portion of our lives that we live where we're so committed to a story of living from other people's expectations or even our own expectations that we forget just how much of our lives are actually choices.
One of the things, there are several places where I read your book, which is called The Answer is Energy. The Answer is Energy. And there are several places where I nodded, Jarrad, not only because I agreed with you, but I just found in my own experience that is true. Meaning, as human beings, we all face obstacles. We all face moments, good moments, not so good moments in our journey. And it is very easy to let certain experiences, even certain traumatic experiences, define who we are today and the rest of who we're going to be. And, dovetailing on some of the things you just said, that speaks to, the message of the book and the message of your teachings with your clients is that, yes, you don't want to necessarily forget what happened, but you don't have to let that define the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think people are sometimes shocked when, I'll say that, one of my best friends now in my life is my mom, and I'm actually the guardian of my father who has dementia. And they can look back, and people who have read some of my previous books where I've explored the trauma and the traumatic experience I've had of, being sort of abused and having sexual things happen, and not at their hands, but just things that the psychological trauma, I would say, of just the growing up with those parents. And they would go, seriously? And my answer to that is, yes, when you can work through to a space where you can actually come to a neutral space. One of the first places I start off in the book is a chapter. I start off with what is energy in the moment of now and creating worthiness, because I think a lot of people, we give our stories away to all of those things. We give our innate who we are. We kind of turn it over to those events, and we allow those events to become the catalyst and the building blocks for who we are. And so we build everything. It's like, building the foundation of your life on the sand of those traumatic events. And so no matter how much good we do, or no matter what we do in our life, we don't ever feel like we're enough. We don't ever feel validated enough. We're always looking externally for something that we can only intrinsically find internally. And so when we really start to reevaluate who we are as people, and we start to redefine our story, it really makes us untouchable in a way that, I don't mean that in a way that is an ego space where it's like, nobody can touch me, I'm amazing.
No.
But it really does come from a heart space where we realize, hey, you know what, I realize that all of these people out there that may have created this space, and it's a hard, it can be a hard space, because I know that if I'd have said this to, I'm in my 40s now, if I'd have said this to 25-year-old, even though I sound like I'm probably 12, where the Disney comes in, but, even if I'd have said this to 25-year-old me, I probably, 25-year-old me would have tried to have, unplugged the monitors and the IVs and tried to punch myself in the face, but if you can get to that space where you realize that those people are acting from their own wounds, they're acting from their own messed up psyches, their own sociological fundamental understandings of life. They're really coming from their own very wounded spaces of their own lack and limitation and what they view the world as. And underneath it all, they're very hurt and angry and wounded children crying out for love too. And I know that sounds kind of puny and wimpy, but it's true. They're people that didn't get the nurturing and the love, and their defense mechanisms have all built up into this thing where, if we're talking about our parents, for example, even in their messed up ways, they're maybe trying to impart things into us that they feel like will make us better people, or they're projecting into us their own wounds. And when we can understand that that's how people that are wounded operate, we can let ourselves literally disconnect from all of their emotional turmoil and trauma, and that puts us back in the driver's seat. It can let us become neutral to that, and it can also allow us to start healing the wounds that we took on from all of that, and realize that, hey, a lot of this stuff that I took on, it's not really mine. It's not about me, and it never was. It was about them. So who am I really? What do I really want to experience? And it gives us the freedom to start really meeting ourselves in a new space that allows us to tune into love in a new way and really grow in a new way. And from there, we start to flourish, I've found.
On the line with us is Jarrad Hewett. Jarrad Hewett, nationally known voice artist, USA Today best-selling author and a multidimensional energy expert who has helped millions of clients across the globe change their lives by recognizing and channeling their own transformational energy. Jarrad's latest book, The Answer is Energy, provides 30 chapters of guidance and stories that will reveal how to shift energy and reframe your thinking about family, money, relationships, abundance, control, and most important of all, living in the moment of now. The Answer is Energy is available in bookstores everywhere, as well as Amazon.com and Jarrad's website, JarradHewett.com, JarradHewett.com. There is also bonus online material related to The Answer is Energy, which you can find at JarradHewett.com/meditations. And Jarrad spells his name JarradHewett, JarradHewett.com/meditation. I was always going to say Jarrad is almost a palindrome, except for the D at the end.
That's right, it is. Well, and Hewett, Hewett. Yeah, we've kind of got the
Yeah. What a dovetail on something you just said. And it goes back to when you made the point about how you're the caregiver to both your parents, and you talk about how some of the things you face as a youngster were the result of restrictions that your mother in particularly imposed on you that had more to do with her than it did with you. And my question, my takeaway, and this is, or
the emotional caregiver for her. My dad actually has dementia, so I'm his physical caregiver.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Sure,
but
sure.
But the point is,
she lives around the corner now. I moved her around the corner and quickly realized maybe that's a little too close.
There you go. There you. Yeah, we all need a little personal space, and she probably needs her own personal space too. But my question is, we all have moments that, yes, like you said, if I was born 3,000 miles away to another parent, would I be different?
Right,
and
what's me versus what somebody else's projection and stories, and what did the teachers tell me, and what did the religious figures tell me, what did my parents tell me, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it is very easy, and we all know people who do this, who blame, they grow up, well into their adulthood, well into their 5s and their 6s, and they still have issues with their parents. And the challenge...
and even after the parents die, Ed, I work with people all the time.
Yeah.
I work with people in their 70s and 80s, and they still, and their parents are long gone, and they're still trying to deal with the trauma. So
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, it's a big deal.
Well, yeah, and the challenge is, at least in your case, if we're lucky, we recognize that all of our parents, they do the best they can with the equipment they have, with the skills they have, with the knowledge that they have. And yes, okay, there may have been some things about how you were raised that you wish you could, play back. But rather than focus on what happened then, you take the wisdom on what you learn now and try to, not only foster a better life, a better, map out a future of your own on your terms, but hopefully foster a better relationship with your parents and loved ones from the past.
Oh, 100%. And this people think this sounds weird sometimes when I say it, but it's true. I wouldn't change a single thing in my life. Everything that I experienced brought me to where I am today.
Plus, you can't.
Yeah, well, that's true. But even if I could, I wouldn't, because
Yeah.
I look back on it now with appreciation and love and grace.
Yeah.
It all, had I not experienced some of the trauma, had I not experienced the contrast or the difficulty, it wouldn't, if the coal doesn't experience the pressure, it doesn't become the diamond, And so I look back at that, and like I said, I have a whole different appreciation. My siblings are in very different places with that relationship with both of my parents,
Mm-hmm.
but I look at it, but I see the world that way too. I can look at the political structure in the world, and I see, I look at everybody and I say, okay, what is the hurt behind what they're saying, or what is the story behind what the person is saying? Because it's never about the words that are being spoken. Most of the time, it's about what's not being spoken. And, that can be love. A lot of, if somebody's giving a message, there can be love behind it, or there can be hurt behind it, or there can be hatred behind it. But what's behind that, and what causes that? And there's there's energy behind that, and there's a story behind that. And if we can get to learn the person's story, we can really learn to communicate with that person at a much deeper level. And all of the pretense, and it takes a while. I mean, you can't, if you go up to somebody and you say, hey, how are you? And, they're shouting at if I used this analogy the other day, if somebody's standing on the street corner yelling about how muffins are the worst thing in the world and they're taking over the planet, or they hate muffins, and you spend all this time baking a muffin and you take it to them in kindness, and, they throw the muffin out and you feel dejected. Well, yes, that, and you go, but the guy was so kind, and why did they do that? Then you're feeding into that sort of duality, opposition story. But if you realize, hey, this person, has some stuff going on, and there's a different way to approach that, and you get to understand why they feel the way they do about muffins, and then, then you can start to kind of approach it. Or you just realize, hey, this person really doesn't like muffins, and I'm not going to talk to them about muffins.
Yeah.
You give them their space, and you learn to get along, and so there's lots of different ways to handle that, but it's basically just realizing that again, it all goes back to our belief systems and why we believe the way we believe, and there are reasons. It's a lot of people believe the things that they believe, and we don't even realize it because it's just it's been ingrained, it's socialized. It's somebody told somebody this, and they told us this, and this is the way it's always been, and we never question it. But when we start to question it, and we start to open up and have experiences, we realize that there's a whole other world out there that we've never really allowed ourselves to experience or explore. And once we start to do that, we open our mind. And it's just a matter of going back to what you said at the beginning. Every single moment is a chance to step into a whole new way of thinking and being. And are we ready to do that? Because it can rock the foundation of who we are, because it completely sets us off on a new course. And it requires a little bit of letting go and a little bit of trust. But when we do that, I've always found it to be, it's life-changing in the greatest ways possible.
On the line with us is Jarrad Hewett, nationally known voice artist, USA best-selling author, and a multidimensional energy expert and coach and teacher who has helped millions of clients around the world change their lives by recognizing and channeling their own transformational energy. Jarrad's latest book, The Answer is Energy, is available in bookstores everywhere, as well as Amazon.com, JarradHewett.com. Take a quick time out, then we'll continue our conversation with Jarrad Hewett when we come back on TV Confidential. Ed Robertson, along with our friend Donna Allen Figueroa, who I understand has a new book out.
Yes, it's entitled Fall Again Beginnings. It's the first part of a 4-part contemporary romantic series set against the background of working actors.
Something that you know a thing or two about.
You write what you know, and I have been working in the business for several years.
It is not necessarily autobiographical, but it's based on...
Sure, many of the experiences that the actors in my book have, many have happened to me, many have happened to friends of mine. It's not, if you're looking for Valley of the Dolls, it's not, it's grounded in reality.
It is grounded in reality, and it's the first in a series.
Yes.
Called the Fall Again series.
Fall Again.
Which is available as a paperback as well as an ebook and in Kindle at fallagainseries.com. One more item. The Innovators Global Summit is a 2-day event coming up in San Francisco that will shed light on the work of physician innovators all over the world who are doing their part to affect change in healthcare. While physicians are considered the scientific leaders in healthcare, they aren't always recognized for their efforts pushing for change and improvement in healthcare. And yet many physician innovators are doing some amazing things related to healthcare in different areas all around the world. The inaugural Innovation MD Global Summit 2020 will be held January 11th and January 12th at UCSF Mission Bay in San Francisco, very close to the waterfront. It will showcase the work of physician innovators and hopefully inspire others to learn and ignite innovation in healthcare. To register for the Innovator Global Summit 2020, go to IGS2020.com, 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 IGS2020.com.
Attention sports fans, now you can watch every football game you want all season long without leaving your home with Dish for about $50 a month. Compared to your cable bill, you can save almost $600 a year. Call right now and sign up for Dish and watch every football game you want. With Dish, there are no boxes to pay, plus get free installation as soon as tomorrow if you call now. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch your favorite sports and channels on your smartphone, tablet, or laptop. Be one of the first 100 orders right now and get a free voice remote. Don't miss a single football game all year long and save a ton of money. Get a free voice remote and free installation as soon as tomorrow. But you gotta call All American Dish right now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251.